Today's lesson is 9.5, solving volume problems. All right, so just a quick review of what we've been talking about. We've been looking at surface area, which is the space around a three-dimensional object on all the different faces. But today we're going to be looking at volume, which is space inside a three-dimensional shape. All right, so because of that, we're going to have our two dimensions, right, that you guys would have done before, the area of a rectangle or a triangle, which would have two dimensions, base times height. Now we're going to be taking it times the height of the shape itself, so we have a third dimension, and so because of that, all of our units are going to have the cubic 3 above it. All right, so if that's feet, cubic feet, or if that's cubic meters, you would use the 3 raised above. And let's practice that here. So what do we have? We have our volume formula again. So we need to take the area of the base. In this case, the base would be the triangle, right? So we use the triangle formula, 1/2 base times height. So let's plug in our numbers. What's the base of my triangle? It's 6. What's the height of my triangle? Coming from the little dash there, you'll see that the height of the triangle is 4. Then I take 1/2 of that, so 1/2 of 6 times 4, 24, right? Hopefully you guys can do that in your head. That's 12. And now I need to times it by the height of my shape, which would be on the side there, right? If I put my base and I rotated it, it would be 12 times 9. And I carry the 1, so 108 cubic feet is my answer. So good question here, and this is one to reflect on. For a prism that is not rectangular, how do you determine which sides are the bases? All right, so imagine if you're using the rectangle as the base in this case, right? It would be 24 times 22, and then you use the other dimension going up. That's basically saying that your rectangle is going up at the same rate at 7, which is not the case, right? Because it starts small here, and then it gets higher. So that's why you have to use the non-rectangular shape as your base, and so that will be calculated first, and then you find the other dimension, and that is the height of the shape. All right, so some of you guys were doing it the opposite way on the problems yesterday, and it just makes it a lot harder. All right, so it's just a good review. Again, always start with the non-rectangular shape, find its area, and then use the other dimension from there. All right, so let's find that volume here. All right, so what is my base? My base is a triangle, so I'm using this formula right. So what's the base of my triangle? It's 24. What's the height of my triangle? It's 7. 1/2. Another strategy you guys can use to make it a little bit easier to do in your head. You take 1/2 of the first number, right? You just use order of operation. So that would be 12, then 12 times 7, instead of taking 24 times 7 divided by 2. So once you do that, you'll have 84. And now you multiply 84 times 22, the height of the shape. And once I do that, add them together. 1848. And now I need to make sure that my label matches. What do I have? I have cubic meters, and that is how I find the volume of that shape. All right, so this one's a little bit different now. We have a trapezoid. All right, so a trapezoid formula here. Not sure if you guys remember this from years past, but what we have now are two bases, right? We have base 1 and base 2, and since it's a trapezoid, they're not going to be equal, so I have to look down below. I see that that is 6. Now I look above, that one's not listed there, but it is a cross because my top face is a rectangle, so that needs to be 4. And now I'm going to plug that into my formula here. All right, so base 1 plus base 2 is going to be 10, right? I find 1/2 of that, and now I need the height of my trapezoid, which is 4. All right, so that's 10 times 4, which is 40, 1/2 of that, which is 20. And now I need to times it by the height of my shape, which is 9, and that would be 180 cubic feet is my answer. All right, so pretty straightforward here, and what we're doing, this would be just like the other one again, so you need to know that trapezoid formula, base 1, base 2, you have it up above, find the area of the trapezoid, times it by the height of your shape. This one here is a little bit different. Again, this is not surface area, so you don't have to worry about overlapping, right? When it comes to space, you would find the space of each one of these prisms, and then you would add them together, all right? So unless there's some trick in there where there's like a missing piece, you can just add straightforward, adding across there, finding the volume 3 different times. Guided practice here. Again, I understand that the longer these videos are, some of you guys tune out, and that makes sense. So let's just look to make sure that we understand what's going on. Again, there is our base. It's a triangle. In this case here, we have a trapezoid, and that looks a little bit different, right, because it's a combination with the triangle in there, but that would be your base 1, base 2. Then there's the height of your shape, and in this case here, you would find the volume twice. First of all, of your rectangular prism on the bottom, and then your triangular prism on the top. All right, and then 2 more here. These are the types that you're going to be seeing. Once again, you would cut it in half, or just separate the shapes rather, and then you find the different dimensions going across. You would know what those are based off of what is given to you there, and you add the 2 shapes together. And then here we have a right triangular prism, and then you would just add your 2 bases there, find the height of it, and then times it by the other dimension. All right, so how we'll be doing this again is we're going to do the worksheet first, and it's a good practice on the computation part, and then we kind of apply it to the different word problems the second day. Again, I'm quite aware that some of you guys are not doing authentic work, and I'm not going to be giving you credit for that, so you guys will be getting points, but it will not be passing points for each assignment. So again, show your work. There's some of you guys who've been showing all of your work, and if you make a simple mistake in there or a mistake, I'm not going to take off a lot of points because it shows that you guys are understanding a lot of these concepts. All right, so practice those strategies. Let me know if you have any questions, and we'll do this today, and then we'll finish up with some of those word problems tomorrow.